I'm going to read a couple of verses out of Matthew 7, starting in verse 13. Enter ye in at the strait gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. So, first thing I wanted to point out was few be that find it, the way. But a lot of people find the road to destruction. So that should make every one of y'all think, especially all you Christians that are going to church every Sunday. Does 45,000 denominations and 2.5 billion Christians, does that sound like the narrow way? They're on the narrow way? No. They're on the broad way. They're on the broad road to destruction. Why? Because they've forsaken everything that God has told them to do. They don't keep the commandments. You know, my wife and I used to think that, most everybody didn't have a problem with the 10 Commandments. It was just that seventh day Sabbath. Well, no. The only commandments they don't have a problem with is about lying and murdering and um, but they have a problem with idolatry and graven images and taking God's name in vain and the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a sign between God's people and Him. That's how you know, that's how anybody knows that you're a Christian, quote unquote. You're supposed to keep the Sabbath day, not this pagan winter solstice demigod sun god worship day that everybody seems to love and adore. You know, y'all are still paying tribute to a freaking Roman emperor that's been dead for, 1,000 years at this point or more. You know, Constantine is the reason why y'all don't worship on the Sabbath day and you worship on the first day. And don't hand me that line of crap that the Messiah was resurrected on first day. No, he wasn't. If you read the Bible and comprehend it at all, he was sacrificed on a Wednesday, was in the tomb for 3 days and 3 nights, and resurrected on the Sabbath day. But y'all don't have any concern with learning the things of God, or y'all have figured out that the Sabbath that they were talking about was a high Sabbath and not the regular weekly Sabbath. And you Torah observers that are still serving the Babylonian Talmudic Sabbath, read the Gospels, any of them. The women came to the tomb as the Sabbath was ending and it was dawning towards the first day of the week. You're supposed to be children of the night, of the light, not children of the darkness. The day begins at dawn, and the following day, the previous day ends at dawn. The next day, new day, begins at dawn. It's not that freaking hard to understand. You're supposed to observe the Sabbath from Saturday dawn till Sunday dawn. And the Sabbath is a delight. You don't do any work, and you learn about, the Bible, and you spend time with Jehovah. So the church has lied to y'all from beginning to end. Come out of her, my people. This message is for the lost, the children, the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And you know who you are. You've been having a lot of confliction here lately, a lot of tugging on your heartstrings. Well, I'm telling you, that's God's grace. Grace is not unmerited favor. It's God's conviction on your heart to make you obey. It's your conscience. Hear your conscience. Start keeping the commandments. Stop going to church. Eat clean. Keep the Sabbath day holy. And fulfill the royal law, which means to tell others to do so. Time is short. Repent or perish.